Hi everybody, we're back for another video. In this video we're going to do Olia by Garnier. It's 6.3 and we're going to match it up against Shades EQ, which is the actual color that I use inside the salon that I work at. So I will go into the individual colors of Shades EQ later on, but for right now let's start with the Olia. So inside the box you'll get one developer bottle. It's in the application bottle. You get one tube of color, I believe it's 2 ounces. And of course, conditioner, color safe as always. And your instruction booklet. And inside that instruction booklet, there is of course, crappy gloves. But I would say these ones are they fit a little bit better, but they still feel cheap. So I'm just going over the instructions to see. They have instructions for a virgin application and instructions for a root retouch and of course processing time. We're going to go for the full maximum time, 30 minutes that it requires. If it's just a root retouch, they say 20 minutes. We are also going to put 2 indicators underneath her eyes like left eye. So it's going to be blue on the left and green on the right. The blue side is going to be Olia. The green side is going to be Shades EQ. As you can see, that's our starting levels right there. We're not going to do too much of a shift. It's more about tonality. I believe it's already living at the level that we need it to live, which is the reason why I'm not going for a permanent color. I'm just going to go ahead with a demi-permanent color, which is Shades EQ, which is deposit only. It does not lift. Now, Olia, I believe, is a permanent color. I don't think it's a demi color. So it might give you some lift on one side. Not too sure. You can check up and fact check me on that to see what it does. But that's just how I viewed it when I was assessing it. So it's a 6.3. When I saw the numbers in there, I figured 6.3 would be, if they're using regular color language that maybe a lot of people don't understand, but if you're a hairstylist, you'll understand this. A 6.3 would be a level 6. After the point will be the tones that you see. 0.33 would be gold. So I'm thinking it's a golden blonde, right? That's the name of the color, I believe, or something, or medium blonde or something to that effect. So I use tones and shades and EQ that will match that. And I'll go into that a little bit later. So you get the tube. Oh, actually, I think it's 3 ounces in there, which means there's probably 3 ounces in the developer, which will make it 6 ounces total, which should be more than enough for most hair types. If you have hair that's down your back, you might need a second bottle. But for the most part, this should do the job for most hair types and densities and lengths. Like I said, if it goes way down past your back, you might need to. All right, so instructions are pretty simple. You have a color tube, you have an application bottle with developer, you put the color into the developer. Nice thing about Olia, they have that screw-on cap. So most of them that you get, you have to cut the top off and then hold your hand and hold your thumb. This one, you can screw it back on and shake it like there's no tomorrow. See, and then you just unscrew and you're ready to go. Can't beat that. All right, so let's get to the application process. So I combed it out on one side, and we're going to divide the half of the head into 2. So we're going to divide the front from the back, basically, and that's going to be right about just behind the ear. All right. Then we're just going to take a section straight across horizontally all the way up the head on both sides until we're fully covered. Now, when you're doing a bottle application, right, you want to split the hair with the nozzle, and then as you're pulling the nozzle back, slowly release the product from the bottle and push down. Now, this is the same exact way that you would do a root retouch. But the reason that I'm doing it this way is because it gives you more control and it's a lot less messy. A lot of you at home like to just take your hair and just squirt it all over and just pray that it covers, and then you might end up with spots. But if you do it this way, you'll have perfect coverage every time, I guarantee you. So, once again, you use the nozzle to part the hair. As you're sliding the nozzle back, start to release some of that product onto the hair, some of the color onto the hair, and then you just use the tip of the nozzle or the flat of the nozzle to push that color down onto the hair shaft. It really doesn't matter in this particular case because we're going to cover everything anyway. But if you're doing a retouch, you wouldn't go down that far. You would just go down to where you see your last color, or where the color changes. But here, we're going to go back and cover everything, saturate everything anyway. So this is just so that we keep everything neat and clean. Like I said, I am a neat colorist. There's neat colorists and there's messy colorists. I'm on the neater side. It just makes life easier and it looks better. So after I go ahead and I saturate that root area, then I go back with the mid shaft, and I can take like maybe 2 or 3 sections at a time, and then I'll just squirt it onto the hair and then just pull it through with my fingers. And you'll see that as it goes through. I'm gonna do a separate video for this because this is really good ASMR. I always get that mixed up. But the sounds that glove makes, along with, the actual application itself, I think it could be very soothing for some people. So I'm going to do a separate video. Look for it somewhere on the channel, in the ASMR channel section that I have on this channel. I have all of that stuff, like unboxing and different things like that for people who like that. That can be a good thing. And I might just do a short on just bottle application in general. I saw this one person do a bottle application when I was just starting out in cosmetology school, and I thought it was so smooth and seamless, and in my mind I just wanted to look like that whenever I do a bottle application. And the way she explained it got me to perfection, and so it's really satisfying to see myself do this right now and have it look this good, on camera, because the way that you're seeing it now is exactly the way that she was doing it. Like, there was no color spilling all over on the hair or anything like that. It was just so smooth and seamless and so fast, and she did it in like seconds. And I'm like, damn, I want to be that good. And to see me come full circle, it's very gratifying. Anyway, you didn't come here to hear my stories. You came here to find out about this, right? So, like I said, we're going back and we're just saturating those ends now. So now you can just like squirt it on there and then just pull it all through. Make sure you get it towards the ends. And don't worry so much about all of that right now because you'll comb it through. Now, quick thing, my camera ran out of battery, so it already processed by that time. I washed it out. The only thing I did there was apply the conditioner, all right? So let's go back to the shades EQ, and we're going to have to process it, separately. I wanted to process them together, but we keep it rolling. So in this, I put on my gloves, as always, and I am using my scale, which in this case, because this is semi-permanent, I was showing you there with the measuring cup. You can just pour it in there and you can measure. You don't have to weigh. I'm using 6 GG. And I am using, I think 6 GG, 7G. Oh gosh. I forgot what that is. I think it's, oh boy. Yeah, 7G, 6GG, 7G, and I believe 7GW, I want to say. You know what? I'll put a correction in there if I'm wrong. I think it's a, oh wait, I'm about to use it again. Let me see. Because I don't think I put enough in there. I think it's 7. I think it's 7GW, if I'm not mistaken. I'll put it up there. Don't worry about it. All right. So, like I was saying with the measuring, because it's just a demi and everything, and they're in these bottles, those bottles are about 2 ounces each. You don't really have to weigh. You can measure it. You can just put it in the glass and measure it. But, the scale is there, so I'm using it. So you mix that equal parts with processing liquid, stir it all up, and then you go straight into your application. And to apply, I am using just a wide brush, almost like a paintbrush. It's a frame art brush, if anybody's wondering like what it is. They use it a lot for balayage, but it's also good to put on glosses, tints, demi-permanents, things with more of a gel-based consistency. I just find that it spreads a lot smoother. That was 6WG that I was using. So I just wanted to check really sure. 6WG, 6GG, and 7G. I think. Right. And this is not really a color theory, explanation, but I will explain it at some other time when I am doing color theory. There's a reason why I'm using the 3 of those. You will understand why in the end result. I understand why I'm using them. That's just a separate video. It's too much to explain, and I don't really want to spend most of the time talking about color theory, but just know that there's a reason why I use the 3 of them together like that. And I didn't use a lot of all of them. They're not all equal parts. It's a certain ratio of each one that I use to achieve the end result. So this is a little bit different. You can it's a bowl and a brush application. So you basically take the whole section. It's almost the same principle though. Like you kind of apply the root just to keep everything controlled. Now that it's meshed together, I just use my hand, paint the whole mid shaft, and just pull everything through. And you'll just go up the head a lot easier that way. I guess if you had a bowl and a brush, you can probably dump the contents out from the at-home color, from the Olia color, and apply the same way that I'm applying this. But they don't give you a bowl and brush, so I just use what they give you to achieve the results that they say that you can get. But as a professional colorist, I have more access to certain things that I can use and utilize. Like I can put that whole formula in a bottle and apply it the same exact way, or I can use a brush and bowl. It really doesn't make a difference. It's just personal preference. But either way, the color is going on there. Now, you could see it has more gel-like consistency. And as the video goes on, you'll see it start to process a lot. In some places, it'll look really yellow and orange. That's the goal. And the tones within the color itself that's helping to achieve. So it has different bases, and those bases help to support the color and help to actually build the tones that you want to see, as opposed to having to guess what it's going to do, which I find like with at-home color, a lot of times you're doing a guessing game. They give you a chart of, okay, if your hair is this dark, it's going to look this way. If it's this light, it's going to look this way. But you never really know. You don't have a lot of control over the tones. With professional color, you have control over the exact tones that you want to see and don't want to see. And also keep in mind too that this hair was previously highlighted, but it was completely done on both sides. So there is no bias when it comes from one side to the other. They're both been colored exactly the same way to look cohesive. So I'm just splitting that cohesive look into two different forms of color. Now, once I get towards the face, when it comes to this kind of thing, I tend to split it into two sections in the front and one in the back. So, on the sides, it was only two sections. On this other half, I tend to do three. That way, I can let everything go back and away from the face so that it all flows together. And when I turn it around, you'll see. See, you can already see some of that yellow coming in. That's the gold tones that are starting to show up. And my favorite tool, the Wow Comb, helps to blend everything through. It does not pull the product off like a regular comb. It doesn't build up. That little red piece inside, it just basically rolls. And what it does is it rolls the color on. And just helps with any spots that you may have missed. There's always some stray hairs in there that like to hide, and a comb is always good. Like whenever you apply color, just comb everything in, blend everything so that's all together, because there's nothing more annoying than doing a whole head of hair and seeing like one strand, and you as a colorist are going to notice it, but maybe your guests won't, maybe your client doesn't see it, but you will forever remember the one strand that you forgot to color as you're sitting there blow drying the hair. And you'll be like, damn, now I got to go back and put something on there. And I just like to paint everything. So see, the way I split it, everything goes back and away from the face, and then you can just twist that up and it's out of their way and they're fine. You could put a processing cap on there, or you can leave it open, or you can put a clip, whatever. And this is the end result. So we'll split it down the middle so you can see the back. And we're going to turn it to the front. That's the blue side. That's the Olia side. You can see it's a little chunky. There's not a lot of blend. The other side is Shades EQ, my special blend. And you can see it's more harmonized. You still see some of those old highlights in there, that chunkiness, but it looks better blended when you see both of them together. So, folks, tell me which side is your best side. I personally like the Shades EQ side, but there's some people that may like that at-home color. And to be honest with you, it's not a bad job. It's just not the same job that you can achieve with a professional stylist. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to follow me on IG. I am taking new clients.